The purpose of this video is to go over what is called the LINEST or LINEST or line estimate function in Excel. This is a statistical function that makes use of the least squares method for analyzing and reporting statistics on the fit of data, and specifically data that's fitted to a straight line, a line like y equals mx plus b. I'm going to show this by using an example. So I have some data here, x and y data, and 30 or so points. Just to start with, I'm going to plot this data. So I'll say insert a scatter plot, and this is what it looks like. So it's roughly linear, and if we wanted to, we could add a trend line, display the equation on the chart, display the r squared value, and that is what that looks like. Actually, I'm going to increase the font on this just to make it a little easier to see. The LINEST function is a little bit different than most functions in Excel. Normally, when you work on a particular cell in Excel, you are writing some sort of a formula, and it is taking information from one or more cells and it's applying it to a single cell. And if you apply this over a range of cells, it basically applies that same kind of a relationship, but it copies it down for every cell. So the LINEST function actually acts simultaneously over multiple cells, and in fact you need to have 10 cells highlighted, so 2 columns and 5 rows. As a side, this is similar it's similar in some ways to using Excel to solve matrix problems. In a sense, if you're looking at a matrix problem, you might need to have an answer that's more than a single number. Like if you're multiplying 2 matrices, you get a matrix as an answer, and so you can actually use the same kind of an approach for doing matrix operations in Excel. The LINEST function command is type in is equals, and then LINEST, open parentheses. And when you do this, it does, again, give you some hints. So it wants the known y values followed by the known x values. So for the known y values, you need to select all of the information in the y column. Then you want to put a comma. Then you want to select all the information in the x column. And then a comma, and we're not going to get into any of the details of this, but if you enter 1, 1 as the final 2 entries and close the parentheses, but do not hit return, and this is the trick. So in order to actually tell Excel to perform this operation over multiple cells, you can't just hit return or enter. If you do that, it will basically copy this multiple times over the different cells. You need to apply it all at once. So you have to use a shift, control, return, or enter. And when you do that, then it actually fills it in properly. So the entry here, D4, this corresponds to the slope, so 2.157759, and you see 2.1578. The entry E4 corresponds to the intercept, 4.0616 and 4.061601. The 0.974907, this is our r squared value. And the other two that are useful to us are the two that are immediately beneath the slope and the intercept, and these are what we're going to use as our uncertainties for each of those values. So in other words, if I said, if I was going to say what the slope was, I could say the slope is equal to 2.16, and again, Excel is not the best at writing plus or minuses, but 2.16 plus or minus 0.06. And the reason I can write that is because uncertainty always has one significant figure, so that number would round to 0.06. And then the smallest digit, which is in the hundredths column, that tells you the smallest digit that's allowed in the main number, in the best value. So 2.16 plus or minus 0.06, that would be the slope. And for the intercept, we would do the same thing. I look at the uncertainty, one significant figure, this would have to round to 0.3. That means that the 10th digit is the smallest digit, so we would say it's 4.1 plus or minus 0.3. And you could go in here and you could tell this to round to 3 sig figs in this case. This would round to 1 or 2 sig figs. That would round to 1 sig fig, and this would round to 1 sig fig. So that's how you use the LINEST function. There's a lot more information about it. You can look things up online if you're interested. If you take a statistics course, you'll learn a lot more about this sort of thing. But that is how we're going to be using it in this lab this semester.